viewers, thank you for joining the Jury Request Show. Today we have a special guest on the show. It's no other person than David Langwallner and Dublin BBOY is going to be joining us on the show. Our first guest is the founder and director of the Irish Innocent Project, which helped those wrongly convicted and imprisoned here in Ireland. The organization recently celebrated their first case convicted, resulting in Irish State first post-mortem pardon was given to Harry Gleeson. Gleeson was convicted in 1941 in the shooting of Mary Mull McCarthy, who was shot dead in Tipperary 70 years ago. Newly discovered evidence by the Irish Innocence Project found that the prosecution withheld information that was supposed to be more useful to the case. But relating to gun register, and also shown that the Gardaí encouraged witnesses to submit false statements. But let's take a look at more of what the Irish Innocence Project is.
The Irish Innocence Project was started in 2009 by David Langwallner, who's the Dean of Law at Griffith College and a barrister. And it's one of 68 projects that are recognized around the globe by the Innocence Network. Before I came, there was only one project out of those 68 that had both law and journalism students working cooperatively on cases. Now there are two, and I'm glad to say that the Irish Innocence Project has expanded to include journalism students that are now working on these cases. There's a real connection that happens when you're sitting across listening to somebody telling you about what happened to them and how, for no apparent reason, they were arrested, they were tried, they were convicted, and they were sentenced for something they didn't do. And so it's very often quite a profound and sometimes painful experience for students to see what happens when a wrongful conviction happens. It happens sadly all too often, and it happens to anybody. It can happen to anybody, and it does happen to anybody.
Hi, Chris. How are you?
Good to see you. I'm very good. Please give it one more time. Thank you.
I should say, of course, that video you saw was my much more attractive colleague, Anne Driscoll, who's the project manager. I'm the founder and director of the project.
Yeah.
And she did a terrific job in that. It's a campaign we have called Be the Key, Set an Innocent Free. And since we're a registered charity, I encourage everybody here and all your audience to donate to the registered charity through that structure or through the structure of the Irish Innocence Project.
Great. Now, David, can you talk us through about the Irish Innocence Project? You started since when it was 2009.
Yeah, the Innocence Project as a concept started in America in 1992 with two lawyers called Barry Scheck and Peter Nuffield, both of whom are coming on the 26th and 27th of June to Dublin for the first International Innocence Conference, which is being hosted by the Irish Innocence Project. Barry Scheck's a very famous, world-famous lawyer. He, I suppose, is most famous for representing O.J. Simpson. He rather tartly remarks he hasn't represented a guilty person in 28 years. I wonder why that is. But Barry set up this, with Peter Nuffield, this incredible project to rectify a problem in the criminal justice system. And that is that people lose interest with people when they're in prison. The assumption is that once someone is sent to prison, that the process has been legitimate, that the person is in fact guilty and deserves what's coming to them. And initially, the initial impetus was what's called DNA evidence. The DNA evidence of 15 years ago, the Americans called junk science. People were sent to prison on evidence that is no longer scientifically valid. And on DNA tests alone, the Innocence Project in America has exonerated, that means got out of prison, over 300 people on death row. 1,500 people total on DNA alone. But the project has expanded way beyond the DNA base to encompass a number of different things. And I can explain them to you if you want. But as far as I was concerned, I had been lecturing, which I still do in the Honourable Society of the King's Inns, teaching clinical legal education. And I came up with this idea that it would be useful in teaching clinical legal education to get students, because the students are the lifeblood of the project, to work in these cases. And the structure of the project is under my supervision and now Anne's as well. And we have volunteer lawyers who largely volunteer their services for free.
Wow.
23 or 24 student caseworkers. Moreover, now we have 30 files to determine whether someone is rightfully in prison or not.
Wow. And is it true that you're currently working on 28 other cases?
Yes.
And what is the process in dealing with each of these cases as they come along?
Well, as they come in, we assign a supervising lawyer and some students to work with them. Now, it depends on the complexity of the case, how many students we would assign.
Okay.
But initially, we do what I would call a desktop review. We work out whether there's anything we can do. I mean, sometimes the people, when we send them back a questionnaire, it's clear we can't help them. I mean, if somebody says to us, I didn't commit murder, but it was manslaughter, that is not an innocent person, so we simply don't help. Sometimes, regrettably, there is no way we can help them. That's a very disturbing feature.
Does that have to do with financial issues?
No, it's nothing. It's nothing to do with financial issues. It is to do with the impossibility of finding something new or newly discovered.
Like an evidence, more or less.
Yes. We believe some people are innocent, but we have to get that process started, discover a new or newly discovered fact, something that is unique, that wasn't there at the original trial, or something which was there, but the significance of it wasn't appreciated. I mean, if you take the Gleeson exoneration, without being too complicated for your viewers, there was a gun register. Now, at the trial, the judge asked for the gun register twice. The prosecution barrister said twice, prosecution lawyer, we don't have the gun register and it won't show anything. Now, we got the gun register and it clearly did show something. I could tell you what it showed in more detail.
And the kind of the evidence that was
So
used.
that was something that was there, but the full significance of it wasn't appreciated at the time. Now, if we don't have something specific to go with, then we're in difficulties happening somewhere.
Okay, welcome. Let's talk to your most recent success regarding the Gleeson. We heard from one of the relative of video who actually said that the conviction, if we have that up, no, we don't have it yet, but how is the relative felt when the judge gets to, I mean, when their case was overturned?
Well, I mean, they were joyous. There is, Harry was obviously executed 70 years ago, which is a long time, but his nephew is still alive and his grandnephew. And they were instrumental in the formation of this group called the Justice for Harry Gleeson Group. They've campaigned tirelessly for his innocence.
Yeah.
They came to us and I took on the case. I must say I had to convince other members of the project because they kind of laughed at me and said, it's a dead case, he's not alive.
True.
And what can we do after 70 years? And I said, well, I'll take it on. And I brought on somebody who's now on our charitable board, who's a terrific guy called Tertius von Eden. And we worked very closely on it for a long period of time. And what we discovered was extraordinary.
Wow, wow.
So they're joyous now that the Minister for Justice has, for the first time in the history of the Irish state, given what's called a posthumous pardon. That is a pardon to somebody who's dead. It's unprecedented in Ireland. It has happened in other countries, but unprecedented in Ireland. And they're very pleased about it. I want to thank Minister Fitzgerald publicly. The difficulty with the Innocence Project is we're always seemingly antagonistic to the state, but we're not necessarily so. We're in favour of justice and the truth. And I want to thank Minister Fitzgerald for her assistance.
Big applause for that. That's very good. Thank you. Now, let's look at more questions that has to do with yourself. Recently, it was quoted on the Irish Examiner on June 2nd, which stated that the level of corruption here would have been equivalent to the states in terms of looking at the case in different areas.
I think it is the case that we have structural problems within the system about the training of the Irish police, about whether and to what extent they actually do investigate things, about their mindset. The mindset is to secure a conviction. It's a bad mindset to have. The mindset should be to establish whether someone did it or not to try and achieve a result to secure a conviction. And I think they need to be, and sometimes, regrettably, the police involve themselves in the embellishment of evidence, the exclusion of those things consistent with innocence, and at worst, they fabricate. So let's be positive about it, shall we?
No, yeah, of course,
To
yes.
be positive about it, what we need to do is retrain.
Retrain. But if we look at the past,
Yes.
let's take out, just kind of rewind a little bit at the past. The past terms of the way the police are dealing with cases in the past and the transparency
Well, and
of
today.
now. I mean, there should be a lot of more difference in terms of evidence.
You know, I mean, we don't have a death penalty anymore, which is a good thing.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah, so that's one thing. The Gleeson case was extraordinary, but we see many contemporary extraordinary examples of people we don't believe should be in prison.
True, true.
In certain types of cases particularly. And it's a disturbing feature of the Irish system. The Americans looked at our statistics that if you're a minority in this country, you stand a significant greater chance of being either targeted or convicted. And also certain types of offences, particularly sex offences, lead to very high conviction rates on very dubious evidence. So, I mean, yes, of course, things have got better a little bit, maybe significantly. But that doesn't mean we should be complacent and not understand the significant levels of change. I mean, the statistics internationally are that between 4 and 10% of people, depending on the state, depending on the offence, are wrongfully imprisoned. And that's a frightening thing for a democracy to have to accept.
It is, really. Let's look at your most recent, I think we're looking there where it says you have a conference coming up at the end of the month here, which is June.
Yes,
briefly tell
you're
us about
invited.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. I do appreciate that. Can you briefly tell us about what it's all about and the event and when is it going to be open to the general public?
It is open to the general public. It's on the 26th and 27th of June. The first day is some of the most famous human rights lawyers in the world are coming. Professor Scheck himself is coming, Barry Scheck. Perhaps even more well-known than Professor Scheck, Gareth Pearce, who's a hugely important lady who was responsible for freeing the Guildford Four and Jerry Conlon, is coming from London. She rarely comes to anything. And a whole lot of other famous lawyers. And on the second day, and this is my colleague Anne Driscoll's idea, she said, why don't we have the first ever international wrongful conviction film festival? So we're showing 8 films with a lot of directors and producers coming, including the Irish producer Jim Sheridan. And these are films that will highlight the various causes of miscarriage of justice, because it's only in the last 9 to 10 years that people have fully, the pennies dropped. People fully understand that this stuff happens far too often.
Right, before we wrap it up there, can you tell us about your charity? If people want to donate, in terms of donation is going on.
Please do, because we need to pay for Miss Driscoll's salary. And, you know, I mean, so we need to establish ourselves on a financial footing, including paying for Miss Driscoll's salary. So please do donate. You can visit our website.
Yes.
irishinnocence.org. I've probably got that wrong.
irishinnocence.com.
Yeah.
That's absolutely.
And excuse my generational failure. And we also have a campaign called Be the Key, Set the Innocent Free. But the first thing to donate. And we are a registered charity, and I would be really grateful. It's a worthwhile cause. We give students, I should say this in conclusion, I'm overrunning my time, but we give students tremendous clinical experience. We give them a huge human rights consciousness. We train them, I think, in a better way in many ways than they would get, you know, filing documents in the bottom floor of a law firm. You know, students, through the structure of the Irish Innocence Project, have done cases in Greece. We've got a death penalty case in Kenya and loads of cases in Ireland. So donate.
Thank you very much for David.
Not all.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thanks.
Please give it up one more time for that. Thank you. Coming up next is an international breakdancing group. They're going to be joining us later on in the show, and these guys are one of those people I needed to see. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after this. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome back to the show. Please join me to welcome Dublin BBOY on the show. Thank you, guys. Good to see you.
Yeah.
You're looking very smart. I like that. You know?
The swagger, you know. Gotta keep it fresh, you know?
That's it. By the name, so I go by the name?
My name is Chopsticks.
And?
B-Boy Armstrong. Carl.
Bruce Lee.
Wow, guys, welcome to the show. It's good to have you guys. Come on.
Thank you very much.
Guys, you've been together for two years now. Is that correct?
Yeah, 2 years we've been together dancing, collaborating, training with each other, bringing brothers towards each other, supporting each other, and of course, giving the people what they want as well, you know, because that's our main aim, because we are professional artists, so to say, yeah.
Good. So we'll start with yourself. Can you talk us through about the success made as, you know, a career in terms of when you talk about dancing, different styles, and can you talk us through about that yourself?
Okay, cool. Well, personally, right now, my name is Chopsticks, and I've been doing this for a pretty long time. So it is an established art. You know, we actually did go to school for this. We did learn basics. There's fundamentals of this. There's foundations to learn how to do this kind of sport. And yeah, before I knew it, actually, I started back in the days in 1997. Before I knew it, it actually became a career, and things were much serious as they were today than before, yeah.
Okay, and as a group, how do you manage to kind of work with yourself? You know, I know you're the leader of the group, and we have yourself there. How do you kind of link up with everybody to be able to
well, basically, there's not really a leader of the group. We just all somehow come together and be neutral, and we just work together and sit down and actually work and come up with routines. And from there, we just try and promote ourselves, get more work, be more engaged with the public, the community. And yeah, dance is what we live. It's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle. Yeah. That's good. Let's take a look at some of your clip that you guys were actually performing on the street. And that'll be something that we would like to look. If we have a clip, can we cut that clip up, please? Thank you. Wow, can we get big applause for that? Like that. Well done. I was just carried away by the whole spinning thing. Now, from experience, looking at you guys, you know, doing all of these things, does it hurt sometimes when you use your head to kind of, you know, do the spinning, use the hand, the elbow to do all of these things?
Okay, cool. I think Armstrong can answer that.
Yeah, Armstrong, go on for this.
Yeah, of course it hurts, you know, but mostly on the beginning when you learn new moves, you know. But at the time, your body just get used to it, so, you know. You know, it's you don't feel it when you're dancing actually because you are excited, you know, to do something new. And when you come up with a new move and you start learning this and you master it, so you just, you know, so excited to do this. So like the pain is gone, you know, after time.
Breakdance was actually popular.
No pain, no game, actually.
Yeah, that's it. You gotta train hard, you know.
Good. And breakdance was actually popular in the 80s. And why has it not made that comeback at the moment?
You know, actually, we can debate the whole night about this, but in actual fact, it's a living culture, you know.
Yeah.
It's part of the hip hop culture. It's one of the elements. There's four elements in the culture, and that's obviously the breakdance that we're into, the DJing, the MCing, and obviously the graffiti. But there's actually one more, and that's knowledge of self. And knowing all of the above and actually realizing who you are and just respecting the art as well and being a positive person in life makes yourself, let's say, a fully understandable kind of a person towards the culture, you know. So it's a lifestyle. We live this, we eat this every day, and yeah, this is just our career, you know. It's always been popular, you know. It's always been there. It's just right now it's actually blowing apart. It's getting somewhere, you know, somewhere maybe we could actually reap off. So
sure. Can you talk us through about some of your success that you've achieved in the past and present about you guys? Because there's so much about you guys. I've seen your videos. I've had people talk about you guys. We've even seen some of your clip at the moment. So there must be some success in terms of you have opened or you've done a lot of launching for all the different brands and all that. Can you talk us through all of that?
okay, cool. The success right now is actually building towards that. So good. We've been actually very blessed to be engaged in a lot of things that's going on in Ireland. So through that success, should we say, motivation really keeps us going, as these are my brothers as well. We all somehow just push each other and just make sure, you know, we do what we have to do. We hit the studio, you know, we try and hit the studio 24/7, you know, we all got lives as well, you know. I'm a family man myself, you know.
Wow, that's really good.
Yeah, you know, it's just all about, you know, whatever it is you want to do in life, just keep forward and just doing what's right and just making people happy.
Good.
So,
and my very good friends at the bar, what other roles do you all kind of play? Because we look at some of the fashion show you guys were doing, the five of you. So you guys were really great doing that. But guys, talk us through all of that. What other roles you guys play during the course of the dancing?
You're talking about like the show
The shows,
that we do,
yes,
or
yes.
the group?
The whole group yourself, whatever you're doing as a group.
Well, I think it's spreads equally. Everyone has an equal role on what we do, and obviously there's always will be slight imbalance. Someone can do more than the other one.
Sure.
But all together we form one, and there is no me without them.
That's true.
As you know, we're one whole, like we are one organic living being.
Wow. And it's a different multicultural group because you're from Africa.
Yeah, I'm South Africa.
Yourself from Poland, you're from Philippines, and you see, so there's a lot of big chemistry here, you know?
Yeah.
And you guys, you did some stuff for Google as well. Sorry, you were about to say something, go on?
We're combining each other.
I love that. Okay, yes, go on.
Yeah, we actually did a nice, really good party. It was the Google staff party.
Yes.
It was very corporate, but in terms of like doing work, well, it varies, you know, because sometimes the client will have a Halloween party, you know, so we'll somehow adjust towards, you know, the theme as well, you know. Obviously, we'll dress up in the Halloween rags or whatever and, you know, put together a Halloween kind of a show, a scary show kind of a thing. So it's always different, you know. It's always different, you know.
What?
So it's never the same.
Never the same,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
Well done, guys. I want to say a big thank you for coming. Big round of applause for them, though. Thank you very much. Before we wrap it up, guys, what will be your website or Facebook or any commercial social network that they can find you on?
Dublin City B-Boys on Facebook.
Here you go. And if you want to see more of these guys on the show and also our first guest on the show, just log on to the G Request Show Facebook and also on our website at www.grequestshow.com. From every one of you, all my guests today, I want to say big thank you. Please give it up for Mr. David Langwallner and also the BBOYs as well. And thanks to all my production crew for putting this whole project all together today. I want to say big thank you, guys. Till we come your way next week, keep living. Until we come your way next week, God bless you and bye for now, everybody. Peace. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Christian.
Thank you so much.